Right now at 7, a look at a unique tailgating event at UW-Madison, working to break the stigma around opioid emergencies. Also, with a little more than a week to go in the 2024 campaign, we'll take a look at advertising spending during this election cycle. Plus, we speak with businessman Mark Cuban about how celebrity endorsements can have an impact on the campaign. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Weekend Mornings. It is Sunday, October 27th. We begin by taking a look at the first warn forecast. Jacob Montesano has that. Good morning, Jacob. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Conditions today are also going to be pretty nice, all things considered. You know, it obviously will be a bit chilly, but it is that time of the year. Now, looking at the current temperatures, a few areas are below freezing, but the majority of the region above that freezing mark, mostly looking at middle to upper 30s, even some lower 40s further northwest for you folks near La Crosse. And as we look at the visibility, we're also seeing clear conditions, both on the ground and in the air. As we look at the wind speeds, fairly calm. Just a pretty quiet morning, and it's going to be a pretty quiet day as well. Here's a look at the forecast throughout the day. Highs will be around 60, plenty of sunshine, a little bit breezy at times, but we're only going to see wind speeds maxing out at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. It will get windier as we head towards the work week, but today it's going to be kind of quiet, especially compared to the next couple of days afterwards. So highs right around 60 for a lot of the area. But the temperatures are going to warm up as the winds increase, and we do have a good chance of rain as well. I'll talk more in detail about all of that coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Our top story this hour, it is homecoming weekend in Madison, and on Saturday, the festivities started early with one tailgate using the large crowds as an opportunity to bring awareness to opioid overdoses. Reporter Ellie Liliberte was at the event and shows us what organizers are looking to accomplish.
Instead of things like hot dogs and hamburgers at this tailgate, you'll find Narcan. It's the emergency treatment for an opioid overdose. The Ready to Rescue initiative is working to help break the stigma around opioid emergencies and helping to teach the community on how to respond. Ready to Rescue, a message plastered outside Union South.
We're all about teaching people about the risks of opioids, what an opioid emergency looks like, and how to respond with Narcan.
Bonnie Miles has a personal reason for being here.
Having, unfortunately, tragically lost both of my children to drug overdose, I had the experience of having had to rescue them in the home.
But Bonnie's working to break the stigma.
A lot of people are afraid to even be seen with Narcan. You know, they think that it signifies that either they or someone in their family has a problem with drugs, but I'd really like to change that narrative.
More than 80,000 people in the U.S. die from opioid overdoses every year, about 1,500 right here in Wisconsin.
It's so important for us to find engaged audiences and really be able to provide meaningful education, meaningful information to them so that ultimately they can make the choice to be prepared.
Saturday's tailgate works to train people to recognize the signs of an opioid emergency, the importance of raising awareness for college-age students, and how to use and access Narcan in 3 steps.
Lay the person down, that's the first one. Spray Narcan nasal spray into their nostril and stay. That's the 3rd step.
3 steps, Bonnie says, are a lifesaver.
So when you go out at night, you just don't know. So to have even one person who's armed with this life-saving medicine that, again, it might just be your child or your best friend whose life is saved.
Narcan is available over the counter at places like Walgreens and CVS. UW-Madison also has 12 places on campus where you can get a box for free. Reporting in Madison, Ellie Liliberte, News 3 Now.
Ellie, thank you. On the gridiron, things were not so great for the Badgers in a game that had been circled on the schedule for a long time. Bucky did have a lead going into halftime, and Penn State had to put in their backup QB after starter Drew Aller went down with an injury in the second half. But it didn't matter. Penn State was up 21-13 in the late 4th, and they would put it away right here. 28-13 was the final. Badgers now dropped to 5-3 on their record. As for the Packers, they're on the road to Jacksonville today. Green Bay is coming off last week's home game win against the Texans with a 5-2 record. Jacksonville is struggling this season, coming into today with a 2-5 record. Kickoff is at noon Central and will be broadcast on Fox. Turning to more local news, a man turned himself into Madison police Saturday after allegedly biting a part of another man's finger off outside a downtown bar. MPD officers were patrolling outside the Soto nightclub on North Henry Street just after 2 a.m. when they were told a 23-year-old man had his finger bitten off. He was taken to a local hospital for further treatment. Police identified a 34-year-old man as a suspect who left the scene before officers arrived. The man now faces several charges, including battery, disorderly conduct, and causing mayhem. To campaign 2024 and some data around ad spending, Democrats have outspent Republicans in advertising since the day after President Biden withdrew from the presidential race, forking over $1.3 billion for ads, while Republicans have shelled out $827 million. This is all according to Ad Impact data. It's a total of more than $2.1 billion worth of advertising in just 15 weeks. Democrats have outspent Republicans in all 7 battleground states as well during the condensed general election, with Pennsylvania the top target for both parties. And in the final stretch until Election Day, candidates are flooding the airwaves here in Wisconsin as well, with millions of dollars worth of TV ads. According to experts who track those ad buys, that just shows how competitive the races are in the Badger State, with both sides betting big on their candidates.
Most donors want to give to somebody who's going to be a winner because, otherwise you're not going to be able to kind of get the return on your investment, right? Like if you contribute to a loser and they don't take office, you don't have someone who's going to take your meetings.
Both sides are pouring money into Wisconsin because they think they have a good chance to win. To hear more on this topic, be sure to tune in for the Record later this morning with Will Keneally. It airs each Sunday at 10:30 here on WISC-TV. And now, besides from big campaign spending, the candidates are turning to celebrities on both sides of the aisle to make their final endorsements ahead of Election Day. On Friday night, Beyonce appeared at a Harris rally in Houston, joining other pop stars like Taylor Swift and billionaires like Bill Gates and Mark Cuban in supporting the Harris Waltz ticket. News 3 Now spoke with Cuban one-on-one Saturday to talk about the rising star power and how it could impact the election in the final stretch.
People who have had success, I think, can send a message that here's what's important to me. And if it's important to you, go out and vote. It's really just about get out the vote. And I think that's what's going to make the difference in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania.
Cuban has endorsed Harris. Trump has also seen an outpouring of support from celebrities recently, with musicians like Kid Rock and Jason Aldean in his corner, along with billionaire Elon Musk and former NASCAR racer Danica Patrick. And on the second to last weekend before Election Day, the presidential candidates are searching for votes in Michigan, which could hold the key to victory. CBS News correspondent Christian Benvenides reports.
Former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris returned to Michigan to fight for the state's 15 pivotal electoral votes.
I'm asking you to dream big again for you and your family, your children. This is going to be America's new golden age. You watch. We're going to bring back those car companies to Michigan.
There is a yearning in our country for a president who sees the people, not just looking in the mirror all the time, but sees the people, who gets you and who will fight for you. That is what this election is about.
In Kalamazoo Saturday, the Democratic presidential nominee is campaigning for the first time with former First Lady Michelle Obama.
10 more days to welcome in a leader with the character and the heart and the strength worthy of the office she seeks and worthy of the country that we all love.
Harris and Trump are trying to woo Michigan's more than 8 million registered voters, including a large Arab American and Muslim population, keeping a close eye on Israel's war against Hamas. The former president later appeared in State College, Pennsylvania, as the candidates shuttled back and forth between battleground states.
This is quite a gathering, isn't it, huh? This is it. We're getting to the end.
On Sunday, Trump returns to his hometown, New York, to hold a rally at Madison Square Garden. Christian Benavides, CBS News.
It was in 2020 when both Pennsylvania and Michigan flipped to Joe Biden, helping lead him to victory over then incumbent President Donald Trump. Coming up now on 710, still ahead, some international news, including a big election in Japan and the ongoing war that's still happening in Ukraine. Plus, let's take a live look outside at the state capitol in downtown. Got a little bit of a sunrise coming up. Jacob has the full forecast next on Weekend Mornings.
Don't miss the final days of A1 Furniture's closing sale. Everything must go. Get up to 75% off. Living room, dining room, accessories must go now. No reasonable offer refused. Final days of A1 Furniture's closing sale going on now.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala wouldn't change a thing? Their weakness invited wars, welfare for illegals, while Americans struggle. Now Kamala wants higher taxes on top of higher prices. We can't afford 4 more years of Kamala.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
My husband and I were elated to find out that we would be having another baby. But after many tests, my doctors agreed that we had to terminate the pregnancy. It was the worst day of my life. You should know that Eric Hovde supports laws that stop me and my doctor from making that decision. And that's a ban with no exceptions in cases of rape or incest. It's a ban that could turn doctors into criminals. He opposes abortion, period.
WIN Senate is responsible for the content of this ad.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
I am a strong believer in pro-life. I am totally opposed to abortion.
Eric Hovde supports abortion bans. Republican extremists in the Senate already want to ban abortion nationwide. No exceptions for rape or incest. They want more anti-abortion judges. And to even make birth control and IVF illegal.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
We can't trust Eric Hovde.
Like a bowl of cherries, life in Attic Angel is healthy and sweet. Our independent and assisted living lifestyles include newly renovated apartments, engaging social activities, and wellness support that is tailored to you. As time marches on, we promote the idea that life can always be a bowl of cherries. Attic Angel, the house that angels built.
We count on gasoline to power our cars, our tractors, our way of life. So why is a city slicker from Miami, Elizabeth Groppe, okay banning gas-powered vehicles? Extremists like Groppe want to eliminate fossil fuels, robbing hard-working families, farmers, and small businesses of their vehicles. Miami Liz's radical ideas hurt our families and our main streets. Don't let Groppe get away with it. Born and raised right here. Todd Novak is our independent voice for common sense, protecting our way of life.
Don't miss the final days of A1 Furniture's closing sale. Everything must go. Get up to 75% off. Living room, dining room, accessories must go now. No reasonable offer refused. Final days of A1 Furniture's closing sale going on now.
Good morning, everybody. Here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. It's going to be quiet today, but temperatures will warm up for tomorrow, and it also will be windy. That's going to continue through Wednesday, and by the time we get to Wednesday, we are expecting some scattered storms for the evening. So let's first start with tomorrow's forecast. Like I mentioned today, pretty quiet. We're going to see increased cloud cover for your Monday, and temperatures will also be a bit warmer. Highs will be in the middle to upper 60s. Then they could be in the upper 70s, possibly lower 80s on Tuesday. And the reason for that is we're going to see very strong southerly winds, which will bring that warm air into southern Wisconsin. So starting Monday morning, we'll see wind gusts up to around 30 miles per hour, but it's going to increase throughout the day, possibly up to 40 miles per hour by Monday evening. And it may only get worse from there, as Tuesday will be the windiest day, especially Tuesday evening. Wind gusts could be up to 45, maybe even approaching 50 miles per hour for a few isolated locations. And Wednesday will also be windy before the cold front moves through. After it moves through, the winds are going to calm down quite a bit, and then it does look like it is going to be a little bit less windy for Halloween. But we are going to see quick round of some pretty heavy rainfall before that happens. Now, here's a look at that rainfall forecast. Sunny today, but clouds will increase tonight, and that will continue for your Monday. Tuesday will also be cloudy, but really the only chance of rain Monday and Tuesday will be a small chance east of Madison Monday night. So despite all the cloud cover, we're going to remain fairly dry. A few peaks of sunshine are possible during the day on Tuesday, but once we get into Wednesday, we'll see those showers and storms developing to the far northwest of our area. You folks in Eau Claire will see the rain a bit earlier, but then by the afternoon and evening, that line of showers and storms will push to the southeast, bringing in some heavy rain and a possibility, small possibility, of some severe weather. Now, right now, the only hazards we're worried about will be strong winds and some minor hail. We're certainly not expecting any tornadic activity, but severe weather is fairly uncommon this time of the year, so it is worth mentioning. Now, it is going to clear out by the time we get to Halloween. Could see some lingering showers for northern Wisconsin, maybe a few light sprinkles during peak trick-or-treat hours, but it does look like we are going to be cloudy, although we may see a little bit more cloud cover than we initially thought. Total rainfall could be up to, if not over, an inch from Wednesday's rain, so we'll definitely take what we can get. We're going to see some much-needed rainfall for sure. Here's a full look at the 7 to 10-day forecast for La Crosse. Again, possibly in the lower 80s for Tuesday, as those winds will be very strong out of the south. By the time we get to Halloween and Friday, we'll see temperatures a little bit cooler with highs possibly only around 50. But then for the weekend, we are expecting more rainfall. Now, it likely is going to be just in the form of showers, but early models are suggesting we could see rain for quite some time, possibly for 3 straight days, and that could bring even more rain to our area. So it does look like the drought situation will start to get better, but we also are going to see a pretty wild week in terms of temperatures. So quiet today and then pretty active for the rest of the week.
Jacob, thank you. On to some international news. On Saturday, thousands of protesters marched through central London in a demonstration organized by anti-immigrant and anti-Muslim activist Stephen Yaxley Lennon, known by the pseudonym Tommy Robinson. The Unite the Kingdom march began at Victoria Station and made its way to Parliament Square carrying English and British flags and banners reading, "When will the government act for the British public?" Yaxley Lennon, who was accused by some media and politicians of inflaming tensions which led to the riots, was not present at the march as he is being held in police custody ahead of a contempt of court case to be heard tomorrow.
It's important for me, I think, because of our culture and the way things are going at the moment. You know, we've got a government that just don't care about us. You know, they just, you know, if you come out for a march or whatever, they call you far right, you know, and it's all wrong. I mean, we're not far right, we're just normal British people, you know, standing up for our beliefs.
Additionally, he was charged under terrorism laws with failing to provide his mobile phone PIN code when he left Britain in July. A counter-protest of anti-racism campaigners and trade unionists also gathered, carrying banners saying "refugees welcome" and smashed the far right. Japanese voters are making their way to polling stations to cast ballots for Japan's parliamentary election, which may potentially end more than a decade of dominance for the Liberal Democratic Party. Opinion polls suggest the coalition will possibly lose its majority as Japan struggles with rising cost of living and increasingly tense relations with neighboring China. Losing the majority in the lower house would force the LDP and its leader, who has been in office for only just a month, into power-sharing negotiations with smaller parties, bringing uncertainty in some policy areas. In Ukraine on Saturday, Russian attacks in 2 cities claimed the lives of at least 5 people, including a teenager. CBS's Holly Williams reports there are now new concerns about the future flow of weapons as the war continues.
The U.S. has supplied Ukraine with over $60 billion in military assistance since Russia invaded in 2022, including these Stryker fighting vehicles used by Ukraine's 80th Air Assault Brigade to launch an incursion into Russia in August, aimed at weakening Moscow's attacks in Ukraine.
Is it a Browning? Is that
it's
right?
Browning M2, 50 cal.
Okay.
Я був водієм вантажівки, трак-драйвер.
Viktor Zakharov is a truck driver turned Stryker driver who told us he's deeply grateful to Americans for the Strykers and other aid.
Have you seen them save Ukrainian lives?
Seen it, heard it, and felt it, he told us. In central Kyiv, John McCain Street was named by Ukraine in the late senator's honor. But with this US presidential election too close to call, the moods turned gloomy and anxious. Helena's husband is serving in the military and told us Ukrainians will hold on. She hopes Americans won't abandon them.
Are you worried that Donald Trump could cut off the supply of weapons to Ukraine?
Yes, she told us. For us, it's a matter of survival. Holly Williams, CBS News, Kyiv, Ukraine.
Time now 7:20 here on this Sunday morning. Coming up next, the CBS Climate Watch and a quick check of today's forecast. Stick with us.
Free for the people, only on News 3 Now.
Bigger isn't always better. Stoughton Health offers in-house MRI in a safe, inviting environment with convenient scheduling, friendly staff, and easy parking. Experience why patients are proud to say, "This is my hospital."
California banker Eric Hovde has a plan that helps him and hurts you.
Here's the math. Hovde proposed $4 trillion in new tax cuts for rich people like him.
And we pay for Hovde's tax breaks with a 28% cut to Social Security and a 25% cut to Medicare.
Hovde even said he would raise the retirement age.
You have to start changing the retirement age.
Eric Hovde, still helping himself and hurting you.
WIN Senate is responsible for the content of this ad.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
Eric Hovde owns a $3 billion California bank. That's right, he owns it.
And a $7 million mansion on the beach.
Eric Hovde proposed $4 trillion in new tax breaks for rich guys just like him.
And to pay for it, Hovde would cut Social Security by 28%.
Slash Medicare 25%.
And veterans benefits 40%.
Outrageous. Now we know what's wrong with Eric Hovde. This guy is not for us.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala wouldn't change a thing? Their weakness invited wars, welfare for illegals, while Americans struggle. Now Kamala wants higher taxes on top of higher prices. We can't afford 4 more years of Kamala.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
It seems like everyone in Washington is either too far left or too far right. I'm Rebecca Cook, and like most folks in Wisconsin, I'm somewhere in the middle. I'll stand up to Democrats to fight for a secure border and stop wasteful spending. I'll stand up to extremists like Derek Van Orden, who wants to ban all abortions with no exceptions. Like you, I'm fed up and ready for change. I approve this message because it's time that we sent one of us to Congress.
Bigger isn't always better. Stoughton Health offers in-house MRI in a safe, inviting environment with convenient scheduling, friendly staff, and easy parking. Experience why patients are proud to say, "This is my hospital."
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
We're keeping an eye on the climate. Here's what you need to know. The International Energy Agency has released its annual World Energy Outlook, and it says the age of electricity is here. The IEA reports low emission sources are on track to power more than half of the world's electricity by the end of the decade. It adds that clean energy momentum is strong enough that fossil fuel demand will peak by 2030. The report also found that despite what you may have heard, data centers will represent a relatively low amount of global electricity demand, less than 10%. Recent moves from some tech giants are reflecting that. Google commissioned a fleet of new nuclear power plants to power its data centers with clean energy, and Microsoft is backing the revival of the 3 Mile Island nuclear reactor plant. And a new study of NFL stadiums projects climate risks could bring up to $11 billion in losses by 2050. The report looked at the vulnerability of all 30 NFL stadiums to climate risks like flooding, Wildfires and storm surges, those facing the most loss, MetLife Stadium in New Jersey and SoFi Stadium in California. The report comes as the Tampa Bay Rays baseball team is determining next steps after its stadium roof was torn off by Hurricane Milton. That's your Climate Watch. For the latest on protecting our planet, go to CBSNews.com and follow us on Instagram at CBS News Planet. I'm Matt Piper in New York.
Let's take a look at the temperatures compared to normal for the month of October here in Madison. Unsurprisingly, they are pretty well above it, 3.5 degrees, which may not sound like a lot, but over the large sample size, that number is actually a little bit larger than you may think. Now, if we take a look specifically at the last 2 weeks, now, back in the middle of the month, we did have a few days below normal, but earlier last week, we had 2 consecutive days where the high temperature was 79 degrees. Now, it's been a little bit closer to normal since, but it's going to be back up to those levels for Tuesday and Wednesday. We could be talking about record highs as well as record warm low temperatures, but it does look like the temperatures will get a little bit steadier starting on Halloween and continuing through the weekend and next week, but they're still going to be above normal. Now, as we look at the 8 to 14-day temperature outlook, it does suggest that above average temperatures will continue as we head towards the beginning of November, but by the beginning of the month, even upper 50s will be above normal. So although we are likely going to stay warm, it is likely that even the warmer days, obviously compared to normal, will still be on the chillier side.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Next this morning, something to check out. A viral piece of art that sent social media into an uproar when it sold for more than $100,000 is on sale again, and this time it's expected to fetch up to $1.5 billion. This banana duct tape to a wall is called Comedian, and in case you're wondering, yes, it's a real banana. Auction house Sotheby's said it's a conceptual artwork, and the physical materials are replaced with every installation, which means the winning bidder will get a roll of the duct tape and a banana, a certificate of authenticity, and official instructions for installing the work. It's one of 3 editions that sold 5 years ago at the Art Basel in Miami Beach Fair. 2 were purchased by private collectors for $120,000. And a 3rd was bought at a higher undisclosed sum and later donated to the Guggenheim Museum in New York. Well, there's still a half-hour news ahead here on Weekend Mornings. Next, we're going to run through the morning's top headlines. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Introducing the new Sushi Lover Madison. All-you-can-eat sushi and hibachi at an amazing price. Now open at Westtown Mall for lunch or dinner. Be sure to try Sushi Lover Madison.
When it comes to your critical medical decisions, you should have the final say. But extreme politician Joan Baldwin says you're wrong. She supports criminalizing abortion even after rape and incest. Or to save the life of the mother, Baldwin would jail doctors for giving life-saving care. And Baldwin even wrote the law that could deny women access to birth control. Joan Baldwin would put extreme politicians in charge of your body and put all Wisconsin women in danger.
National Democrats have been a disaster. Higher prices, open borders, making our communities less safe. They can't run on their record, so they try to distract you by lying about abortion.
Here's the truth. I oppose a national abortion ban. Early in a pregnancy, women should have the right to decide. We should allow for exceptions. And finally, the people of Wisconsin need to decide this issue, not politicians in Washington.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
For 54 years, they were trying to get Roe v. Wade terminated, and I did it.
He did it. It was pretty devastating.
He is bragging about the rights that he stole from American women, and Trump is promising to do more. In Project 2025.
They are restricting birth control,
tracking pregnant women, enforcing a nationwide abortion ban. The government should get out of my business.
Stay out of my business.
That's not the government's business.
In America, women make their own decisions.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields.
Fields Volvo Cars Madison has the Volvo you want in stock
and ready to drive home today. So stop by Fields Volvo Cars Madison and take a test drive.
Plus, you'll be part of Fields Amenities program with complimentary loaners, car washes, and gourmet coffee service.
And right now is a great time to get an offer like this.
Get 3.99% APR financing for up to 72 months on 2024 and 2025 Volvo XC40, XC60, and XC90 models at Fields Volvo Cars Madison. Go to volvocarsmadison.com.
I'm Elizabeth Grabby, and this is home. Whether it was saving our family farm, starting my small business, or standing up to utility rate hikes, I've learned to solve problems by bringing people together. And right now, we have some real problems to solve. Corporations jacking up prices, and extreme politicians banning abortion. I'm Elizabeth Grabby, and together we can bring down costs and protect the right to make our own medical decisions.
Introducing the new Sushi Lover Madison. All-you-can-eat sushi and hibachi at an amazing price. Now open at Westtown Mall for lunch or dinner. Be sure to try Sushi Lover Madison.
Right now, 7:30. We are now just a little over 1 week away from Election Day. What the campaigns are doing here in Wisconsin and across the country. Plus, we got the latest developments from Israel following a retaliatory strike against Iran on Saturday. This is Weekend Mornings. Thanks for joining us here. I'm Kyle Pazorski. It is Sunday, October 27th. We begin this final half hour with the first look at the first warn forecast. Jacob Montesano has what you need to know. Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning, Kyle. Seeing more clear skies across southern Wisconsin. This is the live camera from the Queen Bee Radio Sky Cam in Platteville. Barely any clouds in the sky. That was the case yesterday morning as well. Looking at the current temperatures, a few areas below freezing, but pretty normal for this time of the year. I mean, for today, it is going to be another pretty quiet day. Obviously, it will be a bit chilly, but that's just this time of the year now. As we take a look at the forecast throughout the entire day, gonna really see complete sunshine. We'll barely see clouds at all until we get to the overnight hours, and then clouds will increase quite a bit. And it is gonna be a cloudy start to the work week. It'll also be a windy start to the work week, but that's tomorrow. Let's take a look at the forecast for today completely. Sunshine, highs will be around 60. A little bit breezy at times. We'll see wind speeds around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Gusts only gonna be up to around 20 miles per hour. So the wind's not gonna be too bad. So definitely, enjoy the weather. Obviously dress a little warmly. It will be chilly at times, but overall, it's going to be the quietest and most comfortable day for the rest of the week. Now, temperatures are going to warm up, but the winds are going to be very gusty as those temperatures do warm up. So I'll talk more in detail about that and give you the rainfall forecast coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Well, in case you're not aware, there's a big election coming up, and we are now less than 9 days out, and Wisconsin is staying at the center of this race with a slew of campaign visits. Democratic Vice Presidential nominee Governor Tim Walz will return in a push to boost early voting. The Harris-Walz campaign announcing the stop yesterday. Walz will be making a stop in Waukesha tomorrow morning and will end the day in Manitowoc. The visit comes on the heels of Republican Mayor of Waukesha, Sean Riley, endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris. Additionally, the Vice President is scheduled to hold a rally on UW-Madison's campus come Wednesday. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump will host 2 rallies in the Badger State this week. He is scheduled to speak in Green Bay on Wednesday, being joined by former Green Bay Packers quarterback Brett Favre at the Resch Center. Trump will also be in Milwaukee on Friday for a rally at Pfizer Forum, the same venue where he was nominated at the Republican National Convention. We've also learned his vice presidential nominee, J.D. Vance, will speak in Wausau tomorrow. And now, with a little more than a week left in the race for the White House, both Vice President Harris and former President Trump were seen stumping in Michigan Saturday night. Michelle Obama joined Harris on the trail with some tough words towards Trump. CBS's Bradley Blackburn has the latest.
For the first time, former First Lady Michelle Obama campaigned with Vice President Harris Saturday. At a rally in Kalamazoo, Michigan, Obama praised Harris and tore down former President Trump.
No understanding of policy, no ability to put together a coherent argument, no honesty, no decency, no morals.
With 15 electoral votes, Michigan is a key state. President Biden won it in 2020. Polls show it's neck and neck this time.
But the consequences of him ever being president again
are brutally serious.
You're not going to destroy our nation. Kamala Harris, you're fired.
After campaigning in Michigan Saturday, former President Trump traveled to Pennsylvania, another battleground.
She got no votes. He got 14 million. All of a sudden, I'm running against her.
All across the country, the candidates are racing to the end.
Here it is, brass tacks. We got 10 days.
Democratic vice presidential candidate Governor Tim Walz in Arizona Saturday, while Republican vice presidential candidate Senator J.D. Vance spoke in Georgia and Pennsylvania.
We're going to turn Pennsylvania red and make Donald Trump the next president of the United States.
More than 39 million Americans have already cast their ballots, with Election Day just 9 days away. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Former President Trump leaves the swing states today to hold a rally at New York City's Madison Square Garden, and Vice President Harris will campaign in Philadelphia, visiting neighborhoods to turn out votes there. And as we continue to bring as much as we can on this coming election, got a fun story this Sunday morning. Early voting began Saturday in Michigan, and one of the hottest issues is finding a coveted werewolf sticker. A middle school student created the design of a werewolf tearing its shirt off with an American flag behind it, and was one of the I Voted contest winners. Comedian John Oliver, the Washington Post, and the New York Times have all been given quite a bit of spotlight in the recent days. The Michigan Secretary of State's office says they printed off 4 million of these iconic stickers and sent them off to county clerks to distribute them to cities and townships across the state. In a high-stakes retaliation to Iran's ballistic missile barrage earlier this month, Israel launched direct strikes of its own against Iran Saturday. A senior U.S. administration official said President Biden encouraged Israel to design its attack in a way that would further deter further escalation. But world leaders have been urging the two sides to avoid a wider regional war. Reed Binion reports.
Right now, the Israel Defense Forces is conducting precise strikes on military targets in Iran.
Israel's military launching a retaliatory attack on Iran early Saturday.
The regime in Iran and its proxies in the region have been relentlessly attacking Israel since October 7th on 7 fronts, including direct attacks from Iranian soil.
This latest attack, a response to Iran's direct large-scale missile assault on Israel earlier this month. An Israeli military source said Saturday's strike hit military targets, which did not include energy infrastructure. Iran's state-run media reported several Iranian military service members were killed. In what one expert said may be a face-saving move, Iran appeared to downplay the extent of the Israeli strike, reporting limited damage at military sites. President Biden expressed hope the Israeli strikes on Iran will mark the end of a period of escalation in the Middle East.
It looks like they didn't hit anything other than military targets. My hope is this is the end.
Biden administration officials have said the U.S. was not directly involved with the strike, but had been consulting closely with Israel. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
And now the Middle East is bracing to see if Iran will continue to escalate this conflict. Iran says it is, quote, entitled to defend itself, calling these strikes a clear violation of international law. Time now, 7:37. Coming up next here on Weekend Mornings. Got some business news, including what Spirit Airlines is doing to raise some cash. Stick around.
Bigger isn't always better. Stoughton Health offers in-house MRI in a safe, inviting environment with convenient scheduling, friendly staff, and easy parking. Experience why patients are proud to say, "This is my hospital."
Growing up here in southeast Wisconsin, hard work and getting things done are in Brian Stiles' DNA. It's why Stile is recognized as a problem solver in Congress. He's fighting for Wisconsin families every day, combating high prices at the grocery store and gas pump. And Brian Stile is protecting Social Security and Medicare because you've earned it. Brian Stile, getting it done for southeast Wisconsin. Fair Shake is responsible for the content of this ad.
This election is a choice between two very different visions for America.
I will take on price gouging to bring down grocery prices. I will lower the cost of health care insurance. Donald Trump, well, he wants to give more tax breaks to the wealthy. I will cut taxes for the middle class instead. You may not always agree with me, but I promise I will do everything I can to lift up the middle class and be a president for all Americans. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
You have a clear choice in this election. Senator Baldwin is a 38-year career politician. I'm a businessman and job creator. She supports taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. I'll close the border. Tammy wants to put guys and girls sports in their bathrooms. I'll protect our daughters. Senator Baldwin abuses the political system. I'll fight the corruption. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message. I'd be honored to have your vote.
We know what Joan Ballwig wants to do. Ban abortion and birth control. That's it. That's her plan. Sarah Kieski is focused on bringing costs down, and she has real plans to lower the cost of healthcare and housing, prescription drugs, and to cut your taxes. So if you want a candidate focused on banning abortion and birth control, that's Joan Ballwig. For everyone else, there's Sarah Kieski. She's running for state senate to finally bring costs down.
How extreme is Todd Novak? He thinks a woman's most private medical decisions should be up to him. Todd Novak has a 100% anti-abortion rating. He supports letting politicians ban abortion with no exceptions for rape, incest, or to save a woman's life. And Todd Novak authored the law to ban abortion here in Wisconsin. Elizabeth Grabe will defend abortion rights. She knows private medical decisions are between women and their doctors.
Bigger isn't always better. Stoughton Health offers in-house MRI in a safe, inviting environment with convenient scheduling, friendly staff, and easy parking. Experience why patients are proud to say, "This is my hospital."
Let's take another look at the drought monitor showing pretty much all of Wisconsin under some kind of drought. Now, abnormally dry conditions in the central portion of the state, not technically a drought, but still worth pointing out on the drought monitor. So unfortunately, we have been seeing this for the last couple of months, honestly, but we are expecting a decent amount of rainfall over the next 10 days. So first, we obviously have that rainfall Wednesday that we have been continuing to talk about, but next weekend into early next week, it looks like we are on board for consistent rainfall. So it will move in Saturday afternoon. Again, this is next Saturday, and it is going to continue for all of next Sunday and into the early work week next week. So it looks like it will mostly be in the form of showers, but right now models are pretty consistent in the fact that it is expected to last for quite some time. Now, a lot can change between now and then, but this definitely is some good news considering our current drought situation.
All right, Jacob, thank you. In business news, Spirit Airlines has announced a new plan to sell older planes and cut some jobs. The company said in a regulatory filing it would sell 23 of its older Airbus aircraft starting this month, which Spirit estimates will bring in about $519 million. Spirit also planned to cut about $80 million in annual costs by a reduction in workforce, which would be dependent on the airline's expected flight volume for next year. It was not immediately made clear how many employees would be impacted. Rideshare company Lyft has agreed to a $2 million settlement with the FTC for misleading drivers about their pay. The FTC said Lyft made deceptive claims about how much drivers could expect to make per hour and how much they could earn in special incentives. The agency said Lyft ran ads to recruit drivers that referenced a specific hourly amounts. However, Lyft did not disclose that the amounts were based on earnings of the top 20% of drivers and not an average driver. The FTC says the settlement is part of its ongoing efforts to protect gig economy workers. 7:43 now, still ahead. Andrew is in next with a look at Saturday's news and sports. And let's take a live look outside at the state capitol again this morning. There's the sun. It's coming up this morning. Jacob is back with the full forecast next on Weekend Mornings.
Sponsored by Three Bears Resort, Indoor Water Park and Conference Center in Warrens, Wisconsin.
During COVID, Joan Ballwig took $500,000 in federal loans she never paid back. Then voted to block assistance to help other Wisconsin businesses grow. Joan Ballwig, out for herself, not you.
Happy anniversary! Join us for our anniversary sale.
And help us celebrate.
We're having our biggest sale of the year with savings throughout the showroom.
Where you can save big.
And you can save big.
You can save big. You can save big.
On quality home furnishings throughout the showroom.
Join us for our anniversary sale.
Wanakee Furniture ETC. Bringing quality homes since 1996.
National Democrats have been a disaster. Higher prices, open borders, making our communities less safe. They can't run on their record, so they try to distract you by lying about abortion.
Here's the truth. I oppose a national abortion ban. Early in a pregnancy, women should have the right to decide. We should allow for exceptions. And finally, the people of Wisconsin need to decide this issue, not politicians in Washington. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
We need leadership focused on addressing rising costs, prioritizing quality schools. But Elizabeth Grabe, endorsed by a group that would take power away from local school boards and put state bureaucrats in charge. And Grabe's backed by extremists who wanted to defund the police. Elizabeth Grabe, dangerously out of touch. Todd Novak is our trusted independent voice, helping families with rising costs, delivering funding for local law enforcement and emergency services, investing in rural broadband and our schools. Todd Novak for Assembly.
Are record high energy costs putting a squeeze on your fixed or limited incomes? While you haven't asked for it, the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy assistance providers are here to help. No Wisconsin resident should ever have to face the challenge of living without heat or power or face homelessness. For a hand up, apply today.
This is China, and this is Wisconsin. Joan Ballwig invested thousands of dollars in Chinese companies, but voted against using state funds to help grow companies here in Wisconsin. Joan Ballwig, out for herself, not you.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Good morning, everybody. Let's take a look at the 3 things you need to know. It is going to be quiet today, but windy conditions are in the forecast with much warmer temperatures for Monday through Wednesday. So winds are going to be howling during that time, and we also will see the storms move in by the time we get to Wednesday evening. Now, looking at the forecast for today, again, pretty quiet. Highs will be right around 60 degrees, plenty of sunshine. But although we're going to see an increase in cloud covers Monday, the temperatures will be warmer because of that southerly wind. So mostly cloudy skies, highs in the middle 60s, could see highs near 70 further northwest towards La Crosse and even northwest of that. And then as we get into the daytime on Monday, we are going to see those winds pick up. So wind gusts could be up to 30 miles per hour Monday morning, but it may even get worse as we head into the evening hours with wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour. But Tuesday will actually be the windiest day of the week, where a few isolated locations could see those winds gusting up to 50 miles per hour. So it is going to be a very windy next couple of days, really after today, though. And Wednesday will also be windy until that cold front moves through. Notice after the cold front, winds won't be quite as bad. Still a little bit breezy as we head into Halloween, but they are going to be much better compared to the day before. Now, as we look at the rainfall forecast, not expecting any rain today. Despite the increase in cloud cover Monday, we are going to be mostly dry. We could see a few showers east of Madison Monday night, but that will be about it until Wednesday. So Tuesday, we're also going to see cloud cover and dry conditions. But Wednesday morning, that's when we're going to start to see those showers and a few storms develop to the far northwest. So the further northwest you're located, the earlier you will see the rainfall. And then by the late afternoon and evening, this line of showers and storms will push to the southeast with a small chance that some of the storms could be severe. Damaging winds look to be the most likely hazard. But this will clear out throughout the night Wednesday. By the time we get to Thursday morning, we'll see some showers in northern Wisconsin, but southern Wisconsin should be dry for much of the day. And for the peak trick-or-treat hours, we're only expecting a few sprinkles, although we may see some cloud cover, and we definitely will see some cooler temperatures. As far as rainfall goes, we'll see about at least a ½ inch, but this could be a bit higher if we do see that line of stronger storms, which brings in heavier rainfall. And a few locations could actually see over 1 inch of rainfall. So definitely some much needed rain will move into our area. Looking at the full 7 to 10 day forecast, highs will be near 80 on Tuesday as those winds will be strong out of the south. Then around 70 Wednesday. It will be a lot cooler for Halloween, but considering the day before, we could be seeing heavy rain during the hours that trick-or-treating will be happening Thursday. I'm sure a lot of people will take Thursday's forecast over the chance of some heavy rain and severe weather. It does look like next weekend we're going to see more consistent rainfall. At this point in time, though, we're just expecting showers, but the shower activity next weekend looks like it could start Saturday evening and last all the way through Tuesday morning. So we could be seeing a lot of rainfall from that system, but a lot can change between now and then. The bottom line is enjoy the weather today because it's going to get pretty wild after today. Very comfortable Monday, Tuesday, but again, very windy.
Heading into yesterday's game, it had been 14 years and 10 days since Wisconsin football had defeated a top 3 opponent. J.J. Watt was on that 2010 team, and they had a really good chance to do it again last night. Number 3, Penn State in town, and Bucky stood tall to start, trailing 7-3 nearing the end of the first half, and Locke lasers one to Will Pauling. What a play, and it puts the Badgers in business. And a few plays later, 3rd and goal, got a score here, and they feed the beast. Tawee Walker trots into the end zone, and check out this nasty block from Verona's very own Jackson Aker. 34 leads the way, and Bucky takes the lead. But then halfway through the 3rd and 14, and Braden Locke puts it into the paws of the Nittany Lions. They'd bring it back to score, and that was a sign of bad things to come. Penn State goes on to win it 28-13, the final score. The Badgers show life in this one, but couldn't finish the job. Outscored by a score of 21-7 in the second half, and Bucky is now 2-13 in its last 15 games against ranked opponents. Well, yesterday was the 116th meeting between Whitewater and Platteville football, the longest standing series in the WIAC. And unlike many years past, this time around, Platteville is the higher ranked team. The George Christ Memorial Bowl always brings the best out of both sides. Pioneers trailing 3-0 in the second quarter, and Michael Preemy says bombs away right into the hands of Brant Stair. And who else? Those two have had such a great connection all year. A 40-yard touchdown puts Platteville ahead 10-7. And then just before the half, Jackson Chris said, you know, I've got the deep ball in my bag too. Brian Wilterdink brings in the 34-yard touchdown grab. That would give Whitewater a lead that would hold through, or I should say, until the fourth quarter. The Pioneers, though, came back and won it 17-10. It's their second win in the team's last 3 meetings. Purdue scheduled yesterday's volleyball match against Wisconsin at their basketball arena, which seats more than 5 times as many fans as their home gym. As if that didn't make it a big enough matchup, it's a top 10 tilt, and oh, by the way, a nationally televised match. But despite all that, Wisconsin won the first 2 sets, and then in the third, in front of 14,000 plus, Charlie Furbringer and Sarah Franklin keep on balling on the biggest stages. Poetry in motion and impossible to stop. Later, it's more from the same dynamic duo. Furbringer puts it on a platter. Frank the Tank does the rest. Wisconsin wins it in straight sets. No test too big for the Badgers, who leave Mackey Arena in style. That's your morning sports fix. Have a perfect Packers game day.
Thank you, Andrew. And when we come back, you look at how some zoo animals are getting into the Halloween spirit. Plus, here's a look at what's coming up later on For the Record.
This morning on For the Record, Maddie Heims joins the program for her one-on-one interview with Gwen Walls. Plus, we break down the Farm Bill and how ad spending will impact the rest of the election. That's this morning at 10:30.
The other side is lying to scare you. Truth is, Joan Ballweg is a champion for women's health care. She fought hard to expand healthcare access for postpartum moms and supports access for IVF and birth control. We're voting for Joan Ballweg because she votes for women like us.
Save big money on your next project at Menards. Update your home's exterior with Cedar Creek vinyl siding. This easy-to-install, low-maintenance siding withstands the elements and is available in 16 color options. Get an 11% rebate on Cedar Creek siding. Prevent costly repairs with Shell Rotella T6 heavy-duty full synthetic diesel motor oil. It's designed to provide excellent protection against heat, engine wear, and sludge. Get a gallon for $18.99 after 11% rebate.
Save big money at Menards.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
I am a strong believer in pro-life. I am totally opposed to abortion.
Eric Hovde supports abortion bans. Republican extremists in the Senate already want to ban abortion nationwide. No exceptions for rape or incest. They want more anti-abortion judges. And to even make birth control and IVF illegal.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
We can't trust Eric Hovde.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala wouldn't change a thing? Their weakness invited wars, welfare for illegals, while Americans struggle. Now Kamala wants higher taxes on top of higher prices. We can't afford 4 more years of Kamala.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
It seems like everyone in Washington is either too far left or too far right. I'm Rebecca Cook, and like most folks in Wisconsin, I'm somewhere in the middle. I'll stand up to Democrats to fight for a secure border and stop wasteful spending. I'll stand up to extremists like Derek Van Orden, who wants to ban all abortions with no exceptions. Like you, I'm fed up and ready for change. I approve this message because it's time that we sent one of us to Congress.
Sarah Kieski, she supports lifting revenue limits, allowing property tax rates to skyrocket unchecked. Kieski's backers want to ban natural gas to heat our homes, driving utility bills through the roof. That's Kieski's record, expensive and extreme.
In today's crazy political climate, we are constantly bombarded with information and misinformation. News 3 Now wants to make sure all the national noise doesn't drown out what's important right here in southern Wisconsin. 3 for the People highlights the issues and the races that matter where you live.
Talking with local candidates, looking at both sides of the issues and fact-checking it all so you can cast your vote with confidence.
3 for the People, only on News 3 Now.
Finally this morning, a few Milwaukee zoo animals are getting into the Halloween spirit. Yesterday, elephants at the Milwaukee County Zoo celebrated National Pumpkin Day by eating a large gourd. Footage released by the zoo showed it stepping on a pumpkin before snacking on one of the pieces. The zoo wrote in a post, quote, "How else do you celebrate National Pumpkin Day?" I got some other ideas, but maybe that's a good way, I guess, Jacob.
I always find it funny when animals will like just crush these like foods like watermelons or pumpkins that like humans like if you try to squash it, you
if I
break
tried
your
to do
hand.
that, yeah, there's no chance.
But yeah, it's just it's just instant. Anyway, let's take a final look at the 10-day forecast. Quiet today and then windy but warmer the next couple of days before the storms move in, which will cool things down for Thursday and Friday. Friday does look to be quiet, and Halloween will be fairly quiet as well before another round of rain, this time in the form of consistent showers, will begin late Saturday and possibly continue through Tuesday morning. So plenty of rain in the forecast.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you all for watching. Have a great Sunday.